Salutations, respected viewers. I'm George from Ireland, and here I am at Chelsea Town Hall in London. So Chelsea's one of the boroughs of London. Chelsea's now amalgamated with Kensington to form the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. But why in particular am I filming Chelsea Town Hall? Well, that's because this is where Wallis Simpson married for the second time. Remember, she's born Bessie Warfield in Philadelphia in 1896. She got married when she was about 18 to a Mr. Spencer, who was rather older than her. They lived abroad, particularly in China. They had no children. She divorced after several years, and she married. She moved to London. She married Mr. Ernest Simpson. So this Mr. Simpson had been born in New York in 1897, making him a year younger than Wallis Simpson. He was born to a British father and American mother. Grew up well off, attended Harvard. But he left early during the First World War to come here and volunteer for the British Army when the United States was still neutral. So he was entitled to British citizenship by virtue of being born to a British parent. But anyway, he came here and claimed it, because you could be entitled to it, not actually claim it, but he definitely claimed it. He served in the Coldstream Guards, one of the socially elite regiments for officers. The men were working class men, and so not socially elite. The Coldstream Guards not thought to be militarily elite, not like it was more effectual at fighting anything else. In fact, they usually fought less because they're part of the household brigade. They were stomping around London, as in the guards are to guard the royal family. But when it came to a really major war, then they were sent to fight in France. So he survived the war, came back here, and he worked as a shipbroker. He was married, his first marriage broke up, and then he met Wallis, so they got married here at Chelsea Town Hall. Now, he was Jewish on his father's side, Christian on his mother's side, brought up as a Christian, and so because they've both been divorced, it was difficult to find a church to marry them. The Methodist Church would remarry divorced people, but the Anglican Church disapproved of it. It wasn't sort of a mortal sin in the Church of England to get divorced, or indeed to remarry if you were divorced, but it was they wouldn't actually perform the marriage ceremony themselves. So there's civil ceremony here at Chelsea Town Hall. We can have a civil wedding to this day. So that was 1928, and they lived on in London. They were very well off, and I've filmed elsewhere where they used to live, just off Edgware Road. But their marriage was breaking up in the early 1930s, where they both started having affairs, and it was rumoured that Wallis had an extramarital liaison with Joachim Ribbentrop, the German ambassador to the court of St. James, latterly the German foreign minister. Now, you might have thought that as a second husband was partly Jewish, she would be opposed to anti-Semitism. I'm not sure she's actually an anti-Semite, but she wasn't against anti-Semitism either, it would seem, because there was this love of peace, which might have motivated her to be an appeaser, or might have been genuine enthusiasm for Nazism. Did she have a romantic liaison with Joachim Ribbentrop? I don't know. There are rumours to that effect. Her enemies were legion, and according to some of her detractors, she was hopping into bed with just about everybody. So I suspect that some of the more salacious rumours are much exaggerated. Anyway, so that's when she met the Prince of Wales, as he then was. The Prince of Wales being the eldest son of King George V. The Prince of Wales, that Prince of Wales, is better known as Edward VIII, or indeed the Duke of Windsor. And so 20th of January 1936, King George V died, and Edward VIII became king. He was no longer Prince of Wales, and I shan't recount the story of his 11-month reign, but soon it became public knowledge that he was in an intimate relationship with Mrs. Simpson, who was still married to her husband. Divorce proceedings had been initiated. Divorce was a lengthy, expensive, and deeply disgraceful process, so most people perceived it. A divorce didn't become absolute till May 1937. So he'd certainly begun his relationship with before that. But apparently in late 1936 she pulled back, and she began to actually want to go back to Ernest Simpson, and feelings began to cool towards Edward VIII. But anyway, impetus had built up, and Edward VIII said, "Oh, I'm definitely going to marry you." But by the 10th of December, it all came out in the wash. He abdicated. She'd gone to France to lay low, felt she was hounded by the press here. But anyway, this is where her second marriage took place. Ernest Simpson married a third time, and indeed a fourth time, dying in 1958. And that was a problem, as he was still alive when Wallis Simpson proposed to marry Edward VIII. And indeed her first husband was still alive. If she divorced and they subsequently died, then it would have been acceptable for her to marry in the Church of England. Well, that's enough about Chelsea Town Hall and indeed Wallis Simpson. Right, I shall switch it off now.